what is Rust? Rust is what you see here on this screen. To be precise, this is Rust code, I would say. This is the code that we will do during this video. But what is Rust exactly? Let's read. Rust is a compiled programming language known for its safety, concurrency, performance. Okay, this is a nice definition, but what does it mean? And most important, why? Like, this is the first question that I already got this a couple of times. Why? Why should I care about learning Rust, and how can I learn Rust in 2024? The reason why we might want to learn Rust are many. First of all, it's a really fast, a really powerful, and I would say also exciting and fascinating programming language, I'd like to add. And probably you heard about Rust, and this was also my case. The first time that I heard it was for system language, so a language that is used to create frameworks, create operating systems, creating core software that is also used to develop other software. So it's not like JavaScript or to create some web apps. So Rust, it's intended to be learned just for systems, let's say mostly. Rust is intended to be useful especially for systems and not applications. But there is a but. Web development. This is where I decided to learn Rust, because I learned that you can use Rust, for example, to create a backend. I created a web server already, but we are, of course, here we are from the basics. So I think that the reason why we could be interested into learning Rust is that it could be very interesting in the future, and this is crucial, we can learn Rust as web developers. So we can decide to do a backend in Rust, do a web server, and then we can also try a couple of CLI programs, but by learning how to make a web server in Rust, we'll understand the syntax, the grammar, and this is our goal. Our goal is to learn Rust while we do something more practical and less boring, I would say. And last, it's for blockchain, for the bad guys. I'm joking, of course. Rust is used for smart contract development, and at some point I will create some content to use Rust for blockchain technologies. So if you're interested into blockchain technologies, some blockchains, they use Rust. So at some point I'll probably do something. But Rust is not sold as a blockchain or Web3 language. That's more solidity. Rust is more universal, I will say. Now, one moment, I want to put the chat here. One moment, because this is, it's cool. Okay, so, now a disclaimer. Rust is not beginner friendly. I love Rust, but I would still not recommend to learn Rust as your first programming language. I would recommend more JavaScript, Python, other languages. And not because it's not technically possible, it's for sure it's possible, but I think the reason is that many courses, included this one, when we teach Rust, we make some references to other languages. We will see this soon, like as we do in Node.js, as we do in Django, as we do in PHP and Laravel. So basically, this is your opportunity to leave this video and stop watching. Go on. Let's see how many people dropped already. Almost no one. So this means two things. Either you already know some programming language, or I'm checking. 2 people left. Okay, we left 2 people. Okay, so 2 people, they were beginners. And I said, okay, this is not for me. Okay, now for the rest of us, I think we can go. We can go on. And now I would like to try to sell you Rust and try to share with you the reasons why I wanted to learn Rust. There are a couple of killer features in Rust that might be very, very interesting. And let's go with the first one. Both of them, they really blew my mind. First one, Rust doesn't have a garbage collector. If you know what is a garbage collector, great. Otherwise, this is a short definition. A garbage collector is basically a system that uses a language to free some memory, some unused memory in a program. Now, some languages, they have a garbage collection, a garbage collector. Some languages, like C, they make you handle memory, and it's an absolute nightmare. I've done this on my own during the college time, and it's really a nightmare. So Rust is different from both of them. Here I had my first moment when I said, okay, wait. What does it mean? It means that Rust checks when needed, it removes something from the memory. We can still handle the memory by ourselves, but it's more efficient. I would add, this is how at least all the low-level programming languages should behave. I make a strong statement. Probably in the future, we will have more programming languages that handle the memory like Rust. What do you think about this? Let me know in the chat now, because this is mind-blowing. This is really, it's unique. I mean, either this or you don't have this cool feature of memory handling in this way. It only checks and removes memory when needed. Second reason to learn Rust, second Rust killer feature, developer experience. I want you to raise your hand if you ever experienced something like this. And you know which language we are talking about. So there are some, and we got used to this because we were taught that the struct trace is a mess, that we should spend 15 minutes to understand what is, you see, that you see, understand what's going on. I spent sometimes hours just to check an error like this without understanding what the hell was going on. That's I'm blaming. So what if I told you that Rust compiler is mind-blowing? It's really mind-blowing. It's I would say game-changing. Like once you understand how Rust compiler works, it's so good that you'll probably never go back again to a similar experience. And we will see an example even in this short video. Nice. Because yes. Nice. I see many hands here. Many hands are here. Sadly. This is sad, but it is. Nice. Oh. Okay. A couple of more slides and then we'll jump straight into coding and doing stuff. So no worries. What is Cargo? Cargo is Rust Package Manager, similar to NPM for Node.js, pip for Python, Composer for PHP. And if you go on https://crates.io, you have a very similar experience. More than 50 billions of downloads. So you know what I'm talking about, especially if you are familiar with NPM. It's another color, but it's very similar, okay? Nice. So you see, I'm referring to another programming language. If you are watching now and you don't know what NPM is, you might get lost. But I think that some of you know what NPM is, so I'm talking to you. If you know what NPM is, I'm talking to you. Nice. We will go through the steps of installation. We will install Rust on the MacBook soon, hopefully, if the demo gods will assist me. And I want to tell you something. On Linux and Mac OS, it's just one command away. On Windows, it sucks. On Windows, we have to install some Visual Studio 2013 tools and so on. It's not that hard, but you might have some issues. I didn't have any issue, but I will not risk and install again Rust on Windows in this live stream. Probably I could make some troubleshooting video, but that's it. So we will go through the installation from scratch on the Mac in a couple of minutes. Now we are almost at the end of this short presentation, and I want to share with you what we will do in this lesson. So in this lesson we will do installation, hello world with Rust C, so with the Rust compiler, which is something that we'll do only this time. So it's once in a time for course. Then we'll do a hello world using Cargo, the Rust package manager. And then we'll see the difference between how we can do a dev, a debug, and release build. That's it. So, but I want really to focus on the process. We are here at the basics, at the core fundamentals of Rust and how it does work. Don't skip the next part, otherwise when we'll do some lessons later, you might get lost and not understand what's going on. Why are we doing cargo new, cargo build? I will not repeat this every time, of course. So we are doing something to learn the core concepts. Okay? Nice. Okay. So to install, let's go back here for a moment. Okay, so to install Rust on the MacBook, I'll show you that I'm not cheating. So Rust C dash dash, can you see? Version, Rust C dash dash version. And we see that we don't have currently Rust installed. So we have this, which is the recommended way using Rust app. I just copy paste this. Let's see. Command C finally, and not Control V. Command V, and let's just try. Info downloading installer. 1 proceed with installation default. 1 return. And let's see. I can't believe that this is working. Francesco admiring his Mac. Yeah, I know. I miss my Mac coding on my MacBook, but yes, we can say. You know, a bad joke. We will also do we will not do any Windows installation, but I'll show you what to do on Windows. Okay, nice. Now I want to reset this, of course. A moment. Okay, so I want to reset this shell. And now let's try again. Rust C, which stands for Rust compiler, dash dash version. And we have Rust installed on our MacBook machine. Very easy. I want to show you a couple of more commands. One is Rust app update. Of course, this will be super fast, but you can use it to update to the latest version of Rust. Currently here is 1.75.0, so Rust app update. Also, something interesting is Rust app docs. If we do Rust app docs, we have a local version of the documentation. I really like this one. And the last command that we're going to try on the MacBook, and then we'll get back to Windows, is to uninstall Rust on this machine. I want to check how long does it take to uninstall Rust from my machine. Here, Rust app self uninstall. Let's see. Uninstall, yes. 1, 2 seconds. Uninstalling Rust on my MacBook, it took literally 2 seconds. Mind blowing. Reset. Okay. To install Rust on Windows, Rust install. No, wait. To install Rust on Windows, Rust install. Installation. Here, it's literally, it's too easy to make a video about this. So you go here and you click download or start. This should already recognize that you are on Windows. You click here, and during the installation process, you will be prompted to install also this Visual Studio C++ build tools. Do it, okay? Before we keep coding, I want to show you one last thing, which is this Rust playground. So if you just want to type some Rust code, or maybe you want to follow along in these or upcoming videos, you can go on Rust playground. This is the link. I leave a link, and then this is the hello world spoiler of what we'll type. You can click type, and you can see here the standard output. So in this case, I don't want to use the Rust playground because I want to do the opposite. I want to understand how things are going locally. So I want to try use cargo, the Rust compiler, and so on. And I can do this on the browser, of course. But if you want just to try a couple of things, you can even try this one, okay? Nice. And now we can go with the example. So we go here, clear. Okay, so let's start coding, and we are focused on learning the concepts here. First of all, Rust C -- version. Let's just check that we have it on our machine. Yes, we have also the version 1.77.0, which is a nightly build, and we can just start from scratch. I want to make an example of a hello world from scratch, and then we'll use cargo. So for the first one, we will not use cargo. Pay attention here because we will do a couple of important steps that we are not going to repeat for the whole course. So I am in any folder and I do code dot, or you can open this, of course, with any IDE you want. So I am in an empty folder in VS Code here. Nice. And we don't have any extension for this example. So let's create a single file, touch main.rs. Check at the top right. And this, of course, will create a main.rs file. We can go here, and we are in this main file, I would say. Now, we can create the first function. Our goal is just to type a hello world, plus a bonus that we will do soon in a couple of minutes. fn main, this is a function that will execute. And then here we can do something. And we can get what the GitHub Copilot is suggesting. It's almost self-explanatory. Print ln exclamation mark hello world. The only thing a bit strange here is this exclamation mark. The exclamation mark means that this is not just a function, but it's what is in Rust is called macro. This is for optimization, and it's basically for metaprogramming. We are not going into the details here, but it's basically to make the code more reusable and more efficient. If you try just print ln, it also works. Of course, at this level, we can't really appreciate the efficiency of just calling a function just once. So it's okay. But for the hello world with Rust, we'll just add this. Nice. Now what? Because every time I learn any new programming language, here I'm stuck. I say, what should I do now? Click some buttons. So what is the next step? And we will do this together now. Again, we will compile. I told you that Rust is a compiled program language. We can just type Rust C and then the name of the file, rustc main.rs. Check at the top right. You see, we now have 3 files, and I'm very curious about this main.exe file. I want to check the chat, one moment. YouTube controls. Okay, nice. It's very similar. Okay. So you see, we have an executable here, but let's try to execute it. So we can just do /main. It's very similar on Linux and Mac, by the way. And we have hello world. Okay, this is very simple. Now I want to try something a bit strange, unpopular, I will say, a bit niche. So if you are here, you will see a strange example, but I think that this can be interesting. Let's say that I want the program to wait for 3 seconds before stopping. So let's try to trust GitHub Copilot. And by the way, the comments on Rust are very easy, / and /star. So we can say wait for 3 seconds. Let's see if GitHub Copilot will help us. And we have this line, std ::. Not a huge fan of this syntax, to be honest. Thread ::, sleep, again std, time, duration from sex 3. Okay, so let's take this example and let's try to run the code again. Let's see what will happen. Okay, it didn't wait 3 seconds. Why? I'll check the chat. Why? What's the issue here? Hello world project done. To my resume. Compile again. You are absolutely right. So we need to compile it again, of course. And then let's try to run it again. 1, 2, 3, stop. Again. 1, 2, 3, stop. Again. 1, 2, 3, stop. Okay, the goal is that I want to show you something cool, because we have this executable file. So what if now I go on the Explorer? So you see, I have this executable in the workspace Rust Hello World, and then I double click this main.exe file. Let's see. Hello world, 1, 2, 3, closed. You see? And this has been a mind-blowing experience for me. So, okay, Rust creates executables that you can run on this operating system. Of course, you can create, of course, also for Mac OS and Linux. What does it mean? This does mean that you don't need Rust to run a Rust program. Boom. Amazing. This is amazing. And I'm not even trying. Like, this is the basically embedded. It's native. It's you create executable like a charm. Yeah. Native application. It means, and this is great, not all the languages have this. I mean, you can create executables, but not that easy as it is with Rust. Okay, nice. Okay, now this was our first example. Keep that in mind. So we created a file, we compiled with a rustc space the name of the file, and then we executed. Is there a better way, or let's say a more common way, to build and create a Rust project? The answer is yes. And we can use, for this example, we can use cargo. Okay. For another, okay. Now let's create. Now let's create a hello world but using cargo. This is a more mainstream solution. So I removed all the files. It's not really necessary, but I wanted to start really clean here. And let's start by typing cargo -- version, just to see if cargo is up and running. So if here you get an error, you had some issues in the installation. So we have cargo here. How can we initialize a new project? We can do cargo new hello world. When we create a project in Rust, we don't use camel case, but we tend to use snake case with underscore all non-capital. So, and we are doing this will create a folder inside this folder. I'm okay with that. You see, created binary application hello world package. We can see here at the top this folder inside this folder. You can even create this folder and then open VS Code in this folder. In this case is absolutely fine, but of course I need to remember to step into the folder, otherwise I'll have some issues. Now let's check. Okay, now let's check the yes, cargo comes with the Rust installation. Absolutely, yes. Now let's check these files. We have some files here. First of all, we have this cargo.toml file. Toml stands for Tom's. Tom's. I forgot. Okay. Tom's stands for Tom's obvious minimal language. So, and it's very minimal because it has name, version, edition, and then we have a list of dependencies. So this is very similar to package.json, but instead of having a JSON file, we have this file with this format. If you can't see this highlighted and you are coding along, it's because you need an extension, and this extension is called even better toml. This is the simple extension that you need in order to have highlighted syntax in a toml file. Now, other things. We have a .gitignore file. Of course, this is not a Git course, but you see it's very minimal. It just ignores the /target folder, super minimal. And you can also see if we type git status that this initialized a Git repository. So there is also an option to don't initialize the Git repository, but by default it initialized a Git repository. And now this src folder. Let's see what is inside this src folder. Click. Just a file called main.rs. This time we didn't type this, cargo wrote this file. It's a simple fn main println hello world. I love this. I think this project initialization is perfect. It's perfect because we have a single file for dependencies, a git ignore file with initializing the Git repository, a source folder that will contain all the source code so we can keep the readme and Docker files and everything else outside, with a single file, with a single function that we can test. Perfect. This is perfection. What do you think? I want to check the chat. 1 minute. Yeah, I think this is it's close to perfection, if not perfection. Thank you so much, Abhishek, for the membership. Let me know what do you think, of course, but I think this is really amazing. Okay, nice. Okay, nice. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. We're almost there. Almost there. Perfect. Yeah. My brain just stopped working. Why? Before we keep going, let me tell you that there is another command called cargo init in case you want to create the project inside this folder. I'm not gonna type this now, otherwise this will mess up my setup. But if you want to create a project, it's similar to npm init. You have cargo new that creates a folder, and cargo init if you want to create it here. I used cargo new because it's more common, but probably cargo init was also a good idea. So nice. there are 3 ways to create a project. Manually creating the files, cargo new, name of the project, cargo init here in this folder, and you will create basically the same structure but inside this folder. You can just try to get into a directory and type cargo init. It will create the same structure. Here we have another folder because I typed cargo new. This is very important. I'll use probably both of them. Nice. Now I want to try something first, then I'll show you an extension. We are almost done, but because we already have the code here of the hello world, okay? Some people might have seen an error here because I had this extension, but it's complaining now, but I'll fix this soon. So, okay, how can we build this project and what will be the output? We need to build this project. We can just type cargo build. This is the command, and when I type cargo build, be sure to check at the top right. Ready? Go. Okay, let's read here. Compiling, finished. Okay, and here you can see at the top right a folder called target with a folder called debug and other files. So we have this and this. But if we go here in this folder, debug, you see we have a hello world.exe file. This is very important because this is similar to what we did before, but it has been cargo that created this hello world_exe file in the debug folder in the target folder. So you see cargo is creating a structure, but it's similar to when we do Rust C and the name of the file. Very, very important. And now how can we run this project? And now how can we run this project? We can just type /, in my case because I'm on a Windows machine, target debug hello world, target debug hello world exe, and we have the hello world. Okay, but it's very important to understand what happened before and what is happening now. It's very similar, but you see cargo is helping us. This is how we will do this through the whole course, the whole series on this YouTube channel and wherever. Okay, nice. Now I want to show you just a couple of more things and then we are done. There is an extension that might be interesting to use. That is Rust Analyzer. Let me show you. We have this. It was complaining because Rust Analyzer, read here, it wants the cargo.toml file. So since we created a file without the cargo, it complained. So let me disable and re-enable it again. Hopefully it works. Let's see. Here, enable. Go here. 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 Okay, nice. So, as you can see, we have something. Can you see it? Here at the top. Run debug. You see this? So usually I'm not a fan of UI commands that you have to click buttons, but I can say that this might be handy. So if I click here on the run, check the console, check the terminal, run. Okay, finished and running. So this does two things. It compiles and it builds. Can we do this also? Can we do this also directly from the command line? Usually I am a fan of the command line. Yes, we can just type cargo run. Let's read. Finished and running. You see, it didn't compile it because there was no change. But let's say that if I add, let's say that I change this with hello cargo, and we do cargo run again, compiling, finished and running. Super efficient. At some point probably we'll try to stress Rust with some crazy stuff on this channel. Nice, we are almost done. I want to show you something, because Rust Analyzers is not just this button that clicks run, but also it's for linting. So let's say that I do a typo. This is probably will be the only typo that I'm doing on purpose in my life. So let's say that I type println instead of println. It's already complaining, but let's say that I ignore this, or maybe I don't have this extension. This extension basically highlights this mistake. And I try to do this. Cargo check. Cargo check is a command that just checks if the code can compile, but without producing the executable. It's basically what the Rust Analyzer extension is doing under the hood. Bam. Oh, we have an error. It's on purpose, of course. Let's check it. Let's read. Let's learn to read when we do Rust stuff. src main rs25 line 2, okay. println, okay, I found the mistake, but let's here. Help. A macro with a similar name exists, println. Wow. Like, this is of course a trivial example, but think how much time you might save in your life as a programmer if you have a compiler that tells you a similar name of a macro, of a function. This is just a small taste of what the Rust compiler is. I want to check. There is a typo. Yes, this is live. Okay. Hi there. Nice. Okay, so as you can see, we had this mistake. So of course, let's just fix it. So println with an exclamation mark, save, of course. Let's try to do cargo check again, and now it's happy. You can see here. Last step is the cargo build for release. Before that, I want to show you the one file here, which is the cargo.log file. If you are familiar with the package.log, package-log.json, it's very similar. It's a file automatically generated, and it's not intended for manual editing, and it takes versions for dependencies. Don't touch this cargo.log file, of course. And then we can do a build, a release. Then let's do a release build. Let's check this folder, and then we can type cargo build, but this time dash release. Check here at the top right here when the folders are in the target folder. We have at the bug folder cargo build dash release. Check it there. Compiled, finished, and we have a release a pink folder. Here we have a hello world.exe file, but it's inside this release folder. So if we go, so now we can type target release hello world. This is the last command that we'll run today. Hello cargo, because we changed this to cargo. And this is the end of the first explanation and hello world for Rust. Now I want to do a final recap, and then we can go in chilled mode. Let's go here. Nice, amazing. Let's go here, Ctrl-Alt-P. Let's make a recap. So, what did we do in this short lesson? 1. How to install Rust on Linux, Mac, and Windows. Basically Windows and Mac, but Linux is similar, the same as Mac. Now we did a hello world using the Rust compiler called rustc to compile a single file in a single executable file. And then we used cargo to initialize, compile, run a Rust program. We also checked 2 extensions, Even Better Toml and Rust Analyzer. We also tried cargo check, which is a command to check if a Rust program has some errors, but without producing the executable. So it's basically just a check if it could create an executable. And last, how to use cargo build -- release to create a production-ready executable. I hope this was clear, and this is the conclusion of our first Rust lesson. We made it.